So now let's check our results. Hey, welcome back to another video. I really appreciate you clicking in. If it's your first time here, if you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, I'd love to have you here regularly watching. The shop has been in full swing here lately. We've been flat out with orders, trying to get as many fulfilled as possible and to prepare for the upcoming notable events of the year. Father's Day is coming up, which is one of the big ones for knife makers. So trying to prepare and make sure I have things available for you for that. Today, I have a couple of my own knives here. If you haven't seen my last video yet, if you haven't, you should go watch it. But I thought it was really good and just some incredible footage there, and I know a lot of you really enjoyed it. But in the video I was doing a little bit of cooking there in a few of the shots, and we had a look at this knife I made for myself a couple of years ago that never did get a handle, and some of you commented that it's time to get a handle on there, and I agree. So we're going to go ahead and start that process today. Also have another one of mine here, more of a Santoku style, one of my designs, and this is knife 100, stamp 100 there, and we're going to give it a clean up and sharpening as well as clean up and sharpen this one before we install the handle. So lots of whetstone sharpening in this video. I think you're gonna like it. Now let's look at that Santoku I have here, which I really like. It's a joy to use in the kitchen. It's been a little while since it's been sharpened. Let me just show you now what the edge is like on some printer paper. Doesn't want to grab, you see that? I have no bad chips or rolls. I'm pretty gentle with my knife, but after a lot of cutting, a lot of time on the cutting board, we have a dull edge. Okay, so let's get out. I want to try a cool little test here. I have a 1000 grit Sharpen glass stone. So this is 1000 grit ceramic here. Let's give it a little wet down. You see it's a little dirty from the last session. So I'll use my Nanawa Nagura or dressing stone. This is a 600 grit. Oh yeah, we've definitely got some particle in there. If you don't have one of these dressing stones, it is a must-have. Dress the edges there a little bit. Just around those corners to clean them up. That's a nice stone. Now we've got our sheet of paper just off to the side. I'll show you the knife real quick. There it is. Love the size. For me, it's that perfect everyday size. But we just saw the edge. It would not cut paper. It would not bite. What I want to do is see how little we can get away with on this 1000 before we can manage to cut through that paper again. So let's see how far we are off sharp. So I will put on, I've sharpened this knife a lot, so I know what my bevel is going to be. So I'm just going to kind of hold it there. We'll see. 1, 2, 3. Okay, some parts I'm right at the apex, some parts I'm not. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. I'm using lots of pressure here now. Just want to check that edge, see if we're getting right to the apex. And there are a few parts we're not, so let me just let's work this a little bit more. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now let's just see if that did anything for us. You see that? Now, I just want to know, I'm not affiliated with Sharpen in any way. I'm not sponsored by them. Nothing like that. Check all the way along. There's still a little bit more, not quite there up on the nose. So let's give a few more passes here. But how exciting is that? Maybe some of you guys, if you're not into whetstone sharpening, maybe you never realize that you could get that kind of performance. To take a knife from dull, just rubbing over that paper's edge, to being able to do that. try to keep the clip rolling for you guys here if it doesn't get too long, but just because I want you to see all parts of the process. Okay, you see, we're much better again now. Just grabbing a little easier. Look at that. It's moving through a little easier. It's I'm checking the coarseness of the cut. Quite smooth. Let's throw that one off to the side. Let's grab our Sharpen. This is the 4000 now. So what a powerhouse set you could have in your collection. And by the way, that 1000 is an edge that would work well for most tasks. Would work beautifully for cutting up meats, poultry, carving your chicken, things like that. Would work really well. A coarse toothy edge like that works awesome for like cutting up raw red meats and stuff. Better, I find, than a polished, refined edge. Veggies as well works really good if you're cutting up peppers with that real hard, coarse skin. 1000 grit does really well. Let's just switch over to this 4000. I'm lightening up on my pressure there now because I kind of already brought in that edge. I'm not counting my number of strokes here, so I don't know how many I've done. But look at that performance. That's steel particle. In case you're wondering what that black is, you have a white stone and you're rubbing the knife along like that, leaving black particle. That is steel particle that's being left on the stone. That's also why you want that dressing stone. Because look at that. You can loosen up a lot of it and get it to move away, move off the stone, but that right there is kind of embedded now. You want that gone. Couple single strokes. And I'm not doing anything elaborate here, guys. I'm not being the most careful with my passes. I'm not managing my pressure extremely well. Sure, I've got a lot of experience on whetstones, but I'm not doing anything that you guys couldn't do. I'm talking to the camera, I'm watching the camera screen, I'm not being super careful with my angle. Just kind of keeping roundabout how I think it should be. Now we're starting to get a little more light reflection there. Edge feels pretty nice. Let's try one more test, so just to check with that 4000. See, totally different experience. If you haven't, I'm not sure, because that's kind of hard to convey all the senses I'm experiencing to you who's just watching through a screen. All you can really do is use your ears and your eyes. You don't have the feel there, but it's not coarse. It goes from to s. You hear the audible sensation before with the coarser grit was that more bassy tone, all that texture as it rips through the paper. To now a s. And the more polished edge you would get, the more that increases. But let me just show you again a little more up close. Whisk. Whisk. Beautiful. Okay, back to the 1000 again here. We're going to clean up. Yeah, you see? You want the dressing stone every time because you want the performance out of that stone. We'll give it a little wash down. And I'm working kind of quick and aggressive here today because I'm kind of trying to show you guys the kind of performance you can get out of these stones and the speed you can get if you had to be quick. Now this is the knife we're going to put a handle on. I'm not going to do a perfect sharpening job on it today, but I just want to show you guys for performance sake here. But this knife I ground really, really thin. So it really doesn't have a lot of steel. But as I sharpen, like we draw it on the diagram there, as I sharpen back, it'll get thicker. So the thinning process would be to lay this stone flat. See, it's flat here on the stone. It's not up on an edge, it's flat. And as you start working the cheeks of that knife, and I would probably go to a coarser grit if I was going to actually do that, if I was going to carry out this process, which I'm not today. But as I start filing there, I'll start removing steel just like that, and you can see there some of the little dips and waves in the in the forging, the grind marks. This knife hasn't got much thinning yet, or we would work that out. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, that looks so good. But over time, that knife just gets more and more refined with your work on the stone. We start bringing that in. But instead of thinning right now, we're going to show you guys again how quick we can bring this back to a well-performing knife. Piece of paper. It's just dull enough that it won't hook that paper's edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we'll start with a few more strokes, because given a longer edge, the amount of time each part of the edge spends on the stone is less. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, it's grabbing now in a few spots. Not perfect all the way along. Still a little bit grabby. See, back here near the heel, I haven't really touched. But up here, mid-blade, lovely. So, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's try to do a few full length passes. And this is not a full sharpening. This is not how I would approach this sharpening process. But I just want to let you guys know what's possible. If you want to be quick and aggressive with it, get that job done, you're in a hurry. Gravy or your turkey's just about done, you're about to carve it for Christmas dinner, you realize, oh, you're going to be looking like a moron at the table, because all your family's going to see that you're a knife maker, or you pride yourself on having sharp knives, and yet your kitchen knives are dull. Here we go, the 4,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ooh, it's looking lovely. Feels lovely too. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So now let's check our results. Real nice. Right back to that heel, right to the very edge. I still haven't gotten quite to the very edge, so those are the types of things I would address if I was taking my time. Now I think we'll do a proper thinning and sharpening on the next part of the video when we have this handle all done up, when we're ready to put this knife back into use. I think we'll do a proper thinning and sharpening then, but for today we'll leave it at that.